All right. What is going on, everybody? Welcome in. Sean Davis here for the channel. Happy New Year. Let me make sure we are all good on the YouTube channel. Really fast. While we are getting started here. We need to get like a theme song or whatever. Not a theme song, like an intro. Happy New Year, everybody. Happy New Year's to everybody that's hopping in. Sup, Wen, sup, Benet. Be a friend, tell a friend. Hit that like button on the YouTube side. First video to start off 2025. Really fun one. Really excited to dive in here. All right, already get some people in. Happy New Year, Kevin, Kai, Willie. What's up? Angelico, thanks. Angelico, thanks always for the excellent quality content, Sean Davis. Much appreciated, and happy New Year to you as well. If Austin stays consistent, I see his 2K overall going up. It's the important things, right? It's the important things that matter. Let's get as many people in here. Let's see if we can set a like goal on the stream for let's see if we could get 100 likes on the stream. Would really appreciate it, guys. We're obviously Sean, your love is my drug. We are obviously going to talk about Austin Reaves' recent performances because he has been insane recently. AR has been crazy since the D'Angelo Russell trade. I do have a little bit of like an update, if you will, on the trade front, specifically regarding one of the guys that I've been, a big fan of, and Austin Reaves does kind of, we'll touch on that. We'll touch on that in just a sec. Got some fun comments in here already. Yeah. So let's go. Hit that like button, subscribe. We're gonna wait a couple more minutes, just interact it for a second, then we'll get going. Shaq Fu says we should go after Kendrick Nunn. I heard he's ramping up. Much appreciated the super chat. Super chats are the number one easy, guaranteed way to support myself in the channel and make sure you get your question answered live on the air. I do think I do a good job of getting around to a lot of the comments and questions anyway in the chat, but if you want it guaranteed that your question will get answered, and it's a great way to help out and support the channel, then super chats are greatly appreciated. Like I said, guys, let's see if we can get 100 likes on the stream. Let's get a like spike here. Let's get a like spike, chat. Let's get some more people in here. We could dive in. We already got a lot of great comments and questions. And we're gonna get started. Happy New Year, Laker fan from Brazil. Welcome in. Much appreciated. Much appreciated. Kai has 2 thoughts. All right, we'll make sure we get to those 2 thoughts. In just a sec. De'Aaron Fox playing well right now. I haven't been keeping tabs on the late slate of games. I saw Maxwell Lewis and Jaden Ivey both get hurt, which sucks. I mean, obviously it sucks when, anybody gets hurt, but like Ivy was balling. Ivy's been so good this year, especially this recent stretch. Jaden Ivey's like kind of like put it all together, or he was like just starting to put it all together. This is year 4 this is year 3. Ivy's in the same class as Paulo. Yeah. So this is year 3. He was just starting to put it all together. And year 3 for an NBA player is probably the most important year, I say, to like deter like further development and like figuring out if they're a guy or not. Like I think it's not always the case, but I think year 2, depending on the position in football, is kind of a good example of that. And then year 3, I think for NBA players is really important for a player's growth and development. But all All right, let's dive in here to Maxwell Lewis also got hurt. So let's dive in here to some of the comments you guys have, and we'll obviously talk a lot about Austin. We're gonna talk about some trade stuff here. But you know what? I'll start by saying this, right? While I know everybody is in the trade machine, right now. I would advise you to stay out the trade machine for a couple of weeks. I don't think the Lakers are going to give this team a shot currently constructed, like before they make another move. I do think they'll make another move, but it's definitely going to be all right, we made our DFS move. Let's wait a couple weeks. Let's hopefully get Vando back. Let's get Christian Wood back. JJ's already kind of talked about how they're like decently optimistic that they'll get some of these guys back healthy during this month stretch. Because remember, guys, we've talked about this with their schedule already. The Lakers are in the state of California essentially the entire month. It's like it's a back-to-back in Texas against the Rockets and against Dallas. Not like a back-to-back days, but back-to-back games. They play Houston and they play Dallas. They play those two games in a back-to-back, time frame. And then every other game outside of that is in California. I want to say maybe they go up to Golden State again. Let me pull up their schedule one more time. But like literally, they are in Cali the entire month. They go up to Golden State one more time, January 25th, and then after that, then they go to the East Coast. But like their only other road game before that Golden State game, the 25th, that's the Clippers, which is a home game, right? So it's a very, very, very favorable schedule, in my opinion, for the Lakers, especially like up until you play Boston, because you look at that schedule, it's a bad Portland team, Hawks second out of the back-to-back, which can be tough, but then it's at Houston, at Dallas, no Luka, Charlotte at home, San Antonio twice, Miami, Brooklyn at home. You have Washington sandwiched in there. Like, this Lakers team is serious, then they would, rattle off some wins during this stretch. JJ just said in the front office a message about not playing any backup bigs. I don't think he trusts the backup bigs right now. And I'm going to take it this direction here really quickly, guys. I don't want to say this. I'm kind of pivoting. And I think I've said this, but I just want to like clarify it. I want the Lakers to address the guard room still and like get a Colin Sexton or whatever, right? But I very adamantly believe that this team is going to go back up big, personally. And I think it's partially because I think JJ Redick does not trust any of the guys available. Jackson Hayes, I think they're just being a little cautious with right now, potentially. But even when Jackson Hayes gets back, I think in a perfect world, JJ Redick could just look down the bench and goes, I don't know about Jackson Hayes, right? So I think they're going to get a guy that JJ Redick feels confident in for those matchups when you face the Nuggets, when you face the Cavs, like we saw last night. Joe, once Trevor Ariza gets healthy, it'll be hashtag scary hours. Oh yeah, Trevor Ariza, and once Kent Bazemore gets back healthy. Yeah. Trevor Ariza, Kent Bazemore, and Kendrick Nunn. I don't know why I couldn't think of that. How do I feel about Deron Sharp versus Nick Richards? I'm a Nick Richards guy personally. I'm a big Nick Richards fan. I've been on the Nick Richards bandwagon for a couple years now, actually. Back when I was Wayne Ellington, that was the other guy. Back when I was doing my 2023 preseason power ranking stuff. So not this past, not heading into this season, the season prior. I was researching for the Hornets episode, and I became a really, really big fan of Nick Richards. He's not a sexy player, but he's so solid for like to be a 12 minutes innings eater. I like that a lot. I like that a lot. Deron Sharp's fine. D'Lo played pretty good. So here's the thing. And all the aggregate accounts are like rage bait accounts. They went stupid on Twitter tonight. So kudos, right? But if we're being honest, this is D'Lo. And I'm kind of happy and sad for D'Lo. Like you could see like a look like how emotional he kind of was if you look at the videos that they were doing of D'Lo, like pregame and things of that nature. But this is D'Lo. You put D'Lo in an environment where it's not what's the word? I don't want to use the word stressful, but that's the first word that comes to my mind. Not stressful. You're facing a bad team. D'Lo's good in those environments, objectively. And he's also getting a lot of touches too. And I'm not like taking away from what D'Lo did tonight, but all the people, low stakes. Revive says low stakes. There we go. People act like D'Lo didn't consistently do this in LA, especially last season. Maybe not this year, but he consistently did this from January on last season up into the playoffs. So kudos to everybody that, salute, right? Kudos to everybody that like got their takes off, got their Elon bucks tonight. But like, let's relax. It was against the Raptors, and he consistently did this last season. What's my ideal roster moves to fill weaknesses? We'll get to that in just a sec. How did Max Lewis get hurt? I think Max Lewis got hurt because he shot the ball when he came down. I guess he landed underneath somebody. I think I could be wrong there. What do I think the Lakers would trade for? All right, so I think when we look at the Lakers, I'm gonna pull up Spot Track here really fast so we can kind of look at some individual player types. We're gonna do this too. So when we look at the Lakers and we look at what JJ Redick wants, I'm projecting here just a little bit. Hold on, there's another super chat that kind of fits the conversation. Not another super chat, but there's another comment. If I said super chat, that's not what I was referring to. Everybody do me a big favor. Let's get a like spike. We're already halfway towards our goal of 100 likes on the stream. I'm seeing a lot of Kessler and Sexton ideas being tossed around the chat. You guys know me. I've been a big Sexton fan. I don't think Sexton's gonna be a Laker unless you somehow did attach him to Kessler. But the problem is, nationally for sure, the Kings have been very, very, very public about how not the Kings, the Jazz. The Jazz have been very, very public about so we got my guy Jay Hoodie talking about donating a super chat. Do I think the Lakers should trade both first for Sexton and Kessler? I would personally. But here's the thing with Sexton. One, like I said, the Jazz have been very, very public about how Kessler is not available. And I'm not all the way sure, and I'm not saying I agree with this or not. I don't think Sexton's a JJ Redick guy. If we're being completely honest, I don't think he's a JJ guy. I'm trying to pull up something really, really fast here. I don't think he's a JJ guy personally. And the reason why I think that, again, I disagree, but I think JJ wants right now from the roster, because I can say I think DFS. I'm very fairly confident that DFS was a JJ move. I definitely think DFS was a JJ move. So with that being said, and just look at the land of the layout of the roster right now. I think what JJ wants is guys that can play defense, ideally, play defense, be effective offensively without consistently needing the ball. Because I think right now, and I'm starting to just like take damn near everything this team says at face value. Because what they said about Rui in the summer has kind of translated into real life. Maybe not the rebounding stuff necessarily, but the way that they view him as a player, I think absolutely has translated over to the discussions in the regular season. Austin Reaves is the biggest example of this. Max Christie a little bit too, in terms of we really, really value this guy. We really, really value this guy. We really, really value this guy. We're going to do X, Y, Z with this guy. And they did that to such an extreme with Austin to where D'Lo became absolutely unimportant, right? Chat saying Bruce Brown. I'm not going to lie. I think if we're talking about JJ Redick, I think JJ Redick would value Bruce Brown more than Colin Sexton. And again, I'm not saying I agree with that or not, because when I look at Colin Sexton, I look at Colin Sexton and say he is one of, I don't want to put like a ridiculous number on it, so I'm just going to say top 20 because I have to think about it. But Colin Sexton is one of the 20 most underrated scorers in the league, where he does get enough credit. And I think actually Sexton is a guy that I think kind of lives off a reputation defensively, where he is not a good defender whatsoever. But he has the young bull stuff. I don't think he doesn't play hard necessarily, but I also think for a guy that is 6'2", we'll just call it that, right? For a guy that's 6'2" and is a average playmaker, which I think for this team is actually perfectly fine. I think being an average playmaker is okay for this team. Colin Sexton would come in and immediately be this team's second best slasher. Immediately. He so far this season, if we look at dunks and threes, or like just EPM numbers or whatever. And while I'm doing that, I'm also like kind of trying to find something else here. All right, let me see. If we look this up, Austin Reaves so far this season, and by the way, we are still going to talk about Austin Reeves's big stretch, but I alluded to this in the live the other day. The Reaves has been so good that just reassured them, like, yeah, we can just let D'Lo walk, and we'll be okay. So far this season, Austin Reaves is taking 2.9 rim field goal attempts per game. Okay, per 75 possessions is 3.1 rim field goal attempts per game. Per 3.1 rim field goal attempts per 75 possessions, 2.9 per game. Colin Sexton per game is taking 3.8 rim field goal attempts per game. He's taking a whole one extra shot at the rim per game. By the way, less minutes, lower usage rate than Austin Reaves. And if you look at per 75, it's 4.8 compared to 3.1. So he's taking Colin Sexton is taking almost 2 extra shot attempts per game, shot attempts per 75 possessions at the rim. And that's with his touches being lower than last season, because they're trying to develop Keontae George. And, Keontae George just hasn't been a great player for them, but they're trying to develop him, and rightfully so. But Sexton would immediately come in and be this team's second best slasher. Like, not in their best slasher, like not named LeBron James, pretty easily. Now, trying to see. So when we look at a player, so I'm going to pull up B-Ball Index here. What I'm going to do, we're going to filter out some guys. And what we are looking for is players over the past 2 seasons that have been at least we're looking for guys that can play defense. We're only going to look at wings and guards. Okay. So let's pull up B-Ball Index here for a second. The other comments, chat. Make sure I get back to those in a sec. All right. So let's see. So we are looking for on-ball, off-ball wings. Okay. And we want them to be good at, we want them to be at least a, we'll call it, let's say 3-point shot making. That's important. And then we'll go, we can go off ball gravity. Sure. Why not? We'll go off ball gravity. We'll go, we want you to be like good enough finishing at the rim. So finishing talent. Let's go playmaking efficiency. Don't need to be great, but can you just be effective as a playmaker? And then we're really looking for a perimeter defense. So perimeter isolation defense, passing lane defense. We don't really care about those two. One sec, chat. Try to get all our data pulled up, screen navigation, and then we'll look for you to be like a good helper. Okay. So how effective are you in help defense? All right. I should probably like say that you can't be a star. Can't be a star. And then we might as well take off the Lakers too. Take off the Lakers. All right, cool. And then one last thing, we'll go season grade. Got a lot of numbers up right now. I apologize. And then all right, dang. Last thing, slasher, secondary ball handler. All those are good. All right, cool. Now we should be good to go. So these are realistically the guys you will be looking at, right? Dang, Norman Powell this season's been insane. Grayson Allen, a realistic. This is why, honestly, Cam Johnson would be insane. A+ 3-point shot maker, A off ball gravity, B+ perimeter isolation defense, B off ball chaser defense, and he's been a really good helper this season. So Cam Johnson is a guy that I think will be at the top of the list, but Brooklyn is very much wanting a lot. Brooklyn wants a lot. Brooklyn wants 2 first-round picks as of right now for Cam Johnson. Okay. Brooklyn wants 2 first-round picks for Cam Johnson. I can't even blame them for that. Can't even blame them for that. Okay. Can't even blame them for wanting 2 first-round picks. So we keep scrolling. Let's only do this season. And then we'll see if we can find the guys that we really, really like. Dyson's had a good year. You know what? We're actually so guys, let's look at Bruce Brown. We're gonna go back and we're just gonna add all these again. And then we're gonna actually search Bruce Brown. And we'll see where Bruce Brown's kind of ranked out at this season. That's if he's played. Dang, Bruce Brown just not played? Ah, that's why. Is that why maybe? All right, take 2. Bruce Brown. So Bruce Brown this season, he hasn't played enough this season. So actually, we're going to have to go back to last season. Let's go back to last season for Bruce Brown. Go back to last season. And we'll type in Bruce Brown's name one more time. So Bruce Brown last season was used as a secondary ball handler and an off-ball chaser. He did not shoot the ball well from 3 at all last season. You guys see his data right there. If I go find Bruce Brown, who is on the Raptors this season. Bruce Brown last year. Yeah, Bruce Brown only played in 2 games. Bruce Brown last season shot. Hold on. All right, cool. 10 points per game, 56.5% true shooting percentage, 3 assists, little less than a steal. Shot 32% from 3. The 2 previous years, though, 35% from 3, 40% from 3. I do think Bruce, I will say this, I do think Bruce Brown is kind of getting overrated because of that title run, specifically like the playoff run. he got really overrated because of the playoff run, where he was like objectively really, really good in that playoff run. But at the end of the day, like, if Bruce Brown is hitting shots, okay, I mean, and this is gonna be like the most no duh comment ever. But a lot of Bruce Brown's value just comes down to his ability to like hit shots and make plays. And I don't know. Bruce, it does make sense. It kind of fits the JJ Redick line of thinking. I think he's a good enough passer. He guards well in isolation. If we go back, let's go back to that title run. We're going to go back to the title run with Bruce Brown, which is the great year he had. A, perimeter isolation defense, B+ pass lane defense, B+ off ball chaser defense, A- screen navigate, ball screen navigation defense. That's the best year of his career. If you're asking me to trade a first round pick for Bruce Brown, I don't know how I feel about that. Like, if we now switch our screen and go to the trade machine, we pull up the trade machine. I don't know how I feel about trading a first round pick for Bruce Brown. And chat, you guys let me know. Chat's saying no right now. That's what I'm hearing. Bruce Brown's damaged goods. Yeah, okay, good. I'm glad you guys are on the same page. Jeez, I forgot he's getting paid $23 million. And that, even as much as I think he is a JJ Redick guy, I could totally see that making sense. That's a lot of money. They're not trading Rui for Bruce Brown. I would be stunned if they trade Rui Hachimura. So now to even get to his contract, you're doing Gabe Vincent, essentially doing Gabe Vincent, Jared Vanderbilt, and what? Jalen Hood-Schifino to get the deal to work money-wise. And you can't buy out Bruce Brown. Bruce Brown makes more than a tax pyramid level, so you can't even buy him out. Or so you couldn't even like pick him up on the buyout market, is what I'm saying. So even though I think Bruce Brown would be a guy JJ Redick would like to have, I don't think that they have enough salaries to like come up with this. And this deal objectively just sucks, I think, and I'd be pretty pissed off if they make it. So here's the thing to consider. I don't think the Lakers, in terms of tradable salaries, have like as much as we think they do. Because follow me here again. So let's run down the roster really fast. Yeah, Bron. Okay, obviously a no-go on the trade front. They're not trading LeBron James. Okay, that doesn't need to be said. What was already known doesn't need to be stated, right? Not trading AD. They're not trading Austin. I mean, everything I've heard essentially is, Austin is off the table unless it's some like God tier deal. DFS, no, I don't think they're trading him. Don't think they're trading them. Max, I don't think they're trading Max. Again, it's a deal where they're getting a, dare I say, all-star plus level talent, and Max's salary you need to get thrown into the deal. I think Max is another example of a JJ Redick guy. Okay. So that leaves us at Gabe Vincent. That leaves us at Jared Vanderbilt. That leaves us at Jalen Hood-Schifino. That leaves us at Rui Hachimura. That leaves us at Christian Wood, Dalton Connect, Jackson Hayes, and the Vetman guys. Jared Vanderbilt, let's have a real conversation here. I don't think Jared Vanderbilt has any value right now. I don't think he has a lot of value to a team to where you trade Vando without having to give up like a first or another asset, right? So with Vando not being, and it really comes down to the thing with Vando is actually pretty easy. One, he hasn't played in a year. Like, you're damn near approaching a calendar year since the last time Jared Vanderbilt has touched a basketball floor. Right? As painful and as unfortunate as that may sound. You are a calendar year without seeing Jared Vanderbilt damn near. And then you also have to account for the fact his contract extension just started. It just started. So he has 3 years left after this year. And honestly, with Vando's, stretch of bad luck, we'll just call it, he's going to pick up this player option. He's going to pick up this player option right now. So he's an injury-prone guy that hasn't played in a full year, and he has 3 years left on his contract. He does not have any value in the league right now, I don't think. Okay, so cool. I wish I had like a digital marker. Cross off Vando. Cross off Max. Cross off Bron, AD, DFS, Austin. Let's have another conversation about Rui Hachimura. I truthfully do not believe that they trade Rui Hachimura again unless it absolutely requires it, where you're getting an all-star caliber player. I don't think that's the case. The problem with that is Rui Hachimura just so happens to be one of the only other contracts on this team, one of the only other players on this team that is worth anything and that has a salary that could actually be traded. I don't think Rui gets traded. So when we look at this roster and we say, how many true salaries can they trade right now? It's Gabe Vincent. And then the conversation's kind of similar where it's, dog, who wants him? JHS has no value in the league. Jalen Hood-Schifino lost all value the minute the Lakers declined his team option. The minute they declined his 2-year team option, which every team does pick up for a player that they select in the first round, the Lakers decline it after year 1. So the Lakers openly basically said to the entire league, hey, league, our bad, y'all. We effed up. We know he has no value. I mean, we know he's not a good basketball player. We know we shouldn't have drafted him. That's our bad. Right? Like, that's essentially what the Lakers did. So JHS, no value unless you're trading him to a team that just wants to like free open cap space this summer. Okay. You're not trading Dalton. These guys down here have little to no value. So you essentially have a $12 million, $11 million contract on the roster. That's your only semblance of a real tradable salary without you having to give up a first or do something like out of the ordinary. Because I promise you, I would be shocked. I might have to do a challenge or something. Like I might have to do something if the Lakers trade Rui. That's how confident I am. That's how confident I am that they do not trade Rui Hachimura. I might have to figure something out. I'm so confident that they do not trade Rui Hachimura. You know what? I'll do this. Clip it out, post it on social media, wherever. If the Lakers trade Rui Hachimura, I will buy a random subscriber a Lakers jersey. How about that? If the Lakers trade Rui Hachimura, I will buy a random subscriber of the channel a Lakers jersey. Deal? Clip it. That's how confident I am. That is how confident I am that they do not trade Rui Hachimura. Do I agree with them? No, I don't agree with that. Trust me, by all means, I want the Lakers to trade Rui because for the right deal. I want them to. Because I personally think at the end of the day, this team's best bet at competing is Reaves, Max, insert Reaves, Max, DFS, Braun, AD. You get another guard that can kind of handle it, not Gabe Vincent. you get another guard, and you get a backup big. That is my dream scenario. Like, by all means, chat. Yeah, we'll take care of all shipping. By all means, chat. I want them to trade Rui and Gabe Vincent. By all means. Notice I didn't say Gabe in the deal. But I am that confident that they will not trade Rui Hachimura. I will buy somebody a jersey. I think they trade both. I mean, we'll see. A lot can change in a couple of weeks. But like we'll say that. I'll say this. If we like in the next couple of weeks, like I said, I think they're going to give this a little bit of time to really like see how everything looks. If Rui Hachimura, like all of a sudden takes this downward, like this downward has this downward trajectory that I think Laker fans already think he's been on. When objectively, I think Rui's been fine, all things considered. I think Rui's been fine this season. Rui starts to take this downhill climb, and then this team is easily better with DFS. Then I think they might just like do it, right? But I promise you, I don't think they're trading Rui. Again, not saying I agree with that. Do not like aggregate this and say that, oh, Sean Davis of LALN says that he doesn't want the Lakers to get traded. Nah. As LA Knight would say. Nah. But let me talk to you. I don't think the Lakers are going to trade him. Why are the Lakers so high on Rui? Is it because they envision him as a replacement for Bron when he retires? I honestly don't even know why they're so high. I think admittedly, sources say Lakers are not trading Rui. I think this actually. I think I've said this in the past, and this sounds mean, but I honestly think that the idea of Rui Hachimura sounds a little bit better than the actual player has consistently been. 6'8", solid enough athlete that in an ideal world, like the idealized version of Rui, is physical enough to take on certain matchups defensively that can play. They can play from the perimeter offensively, but you don't necessarily need to force feed him touches, I think. JB says just freaking trade Rui. He's not a 3 and he's inconsistent. 7 points in the big game. He's not even for the future because when Brown retires, AD will move to the 4. Rui plus Gabe, 2 first plus the pick swap for Cam and Duron Sharp. I think that's a lot draft compensation wise for Cam and Sharp. I will say this. I think it makes sense why the Lakers didn't pull the trigger on the Cam Johnson trade right now, especially if the price tag for Cam is 2 first. Makes total sense. Especially considering that I think you can wait and honestly see if Brooklyn will just come down on that at the deadline. Honestly. Just see if Brooklyn will come down on that at the deadline and say, look, a first and a swap or something along those lines. So, but he's on 3 and he's inconsistent. He's not even in the future because when Brown retires. That's the problem, though. Again, I'm taking everything this team tells me at face value from now on, considering the fact they told us straight to our face this summer who they consider a part of the long-term future. The 4 names that we heard all summer, mind you, we never heard a damn word about D'Lo. As a matter of fact, it was so obvious that D'Lo wasn't a part of the future, it became awkward, and it was a prevalent part of the discussion about D'Lo all summer that they do not consider him a part of the future because if they did, it would have said something. And I think JJ, at the very least, we keep hearing about the communication thing with JJ. I think JJ is pretty intentional. I think they are pretty intentional with how they deliver messaging now, especially now JJ's in the building. And the 4 guys we heard all summer, Austin Reaves, and the actions definitely kind of correspond that method of thinking, if that's the right wording. Austin Reaves, Max Christie was a starter, by the way. Don't Connect, who they honestly used the hell out of, especially the beginning of the year, and then Rui Hachimura. Those were the 4 guys. We never heard about Jared Vanderbilt. We never heard about D'Angelo Russell ever, and we never heard about JHS. Outside of your yearly, he was really good in training camp. Max, Don't Connect, Austin Reaves, AD, Rui Hachimura. Those are the guys we heard about all summer. All summer. Notice the guy that we never heard about. Now, granted, I think Revive just talked about it in the chat. Yes, that is very, very valid. Like JJ was talking about all summer. I've talked to D'Lo the most. And I'm not even going to say that he was lying necessarily. I just think it became a thing where there wasn't enough touches to go around. I'm not even going to say he was lying about D'Lo. And I also think a big part of the D'Lo thing not working out is that D'Lo wasn't. I'm not putting the blame on D'Lo necessarily, but D'Lo wasn't as elite of a pick and roll 3-point shooter as he was last year. So they did put him off ball a lot more this season in favor of giving Austin Reaves the ball. And Austin Reaves has been balling the hell out the past, 5 games. Just had 35 points. Like I said, Austin's hooping. Austin is having a career year. And this honestly goes back to when I was having the conversation about Austin back when I was the Lakers Nation. This would have been after the playoff run. This would have been after the conference finals run. And let me pull up his playoff data too. Pull up his playoff data. Because the conversation I had after the playoffs and after he did what he did, and I kind of, there's just certain players in the league that I just never truly have a good grasp on their ceiling or what their comp is. There's always going to be a couple players in each draft cycle. There's going to be a couple players throughout the league in general that I don't really have good grasp on their comps or whatever. Am I with Lakersation anymore? No, I'm not. Austin is a guy that I remember saying back in the time, at that time, that I don't know what his ceiling is, but if he turned out becoming an all-star caliber player, keyword caliber, and the guy I compared him to was CJ McCollum in the sense that he never was an all-star, but CJ McCollum in his prime was very much CJ McCollum very much was an all-star caliber player. You know exactly what I mean when I say that. I don't think that's controversial. Chaz, is saying CJ McCollum in his prime was an all-star caliber player, that's not controversial, I don't think. And that's kind of why I thought Austin's ceiling was, but I wasn't quite sure, right? And then you have last season. I think last season kind of soured some people's opinions on Austin Reaves. But last 10 games for Austin Reaves. Last 10 games. 20 points. We're going to round up for all of these. 20 points, 6 rebounds, 7 assists. Shooting 45% from the floor, 35% from 3. 59.4 true shooting percentage, which is +3, I think. I think the league average of true shooting this year is 56%. So +3 true shooting percentage while averaging 5 rebounds. We already talked about the rebounds. While also only averaging 3 turnovers a game. Okay. And this is also specifically when I look at the last 3 games, and we want to like hyper focus on the last 3 games with Austin Reaves. 29, 8, and 12, shooting 50, 44, 50% from the floor, 44% from 3, 64% true shooting percentage, which is a +8 efficiency, and having 4 turnovers a game. And the turnovers, this has always kind of been my take on turnovers. I don't care about turnovers if you are a high volume playmaker. So Austin Reaves averaging 4 turnovers a game does jack shit, in my opinion, because he's been a high volume playmaker these past few games without D'Lo. And I think with Austin, I think he's manipulating space at an ultra high level right now. I think he's getting paint touches at a high level right now, which JJ Redick adores. And if we compare his overall season to the playoff run, which got him paid, and last season, the playoff run, stupid numbers by Austin. 16.9 points, 61.9% true shooting, 4.6 assists, 1.6 turnovers, taking 2.5 attempts at the rim per game, shooting 44% from 3 in that playoff run. Mr. MT kind of describes it perfectly. The playmaking and the scoring all sets the turnovers. That's why, not to go on a side tangent about one of my favorite players in the league, but that's why when people like shit on Trae Young's turnovers, I honestly like turn away. Or like when Harden has a bad or Luka. When Luka has those 7 turnover games, I don't care. I very rarely care if you have turnovers, like 4, you average 4 turnovers a game. If you're touching the ball 100 times, like Cade, for example, averages like 5 turnovers, maybe a little bit less than that. Averages 5 turnovers, but stupid high usage, and he touches the ball 100 times a game. So what, God forbid, 2% of the time you touch the ball, you turn the ball over? Okay. Cool beans, you know? And then this season, Austin Reaves, career high in assists per game, career high in points, obviously. He's taking 7.2 threes a game. And this is not per 75 possessions. This is like real. Per 75 possessions, Austin Reaves, 5.9 assists, 7.5 threes per 75 possessions. Like Austin this season, plus efficiency, like we've already said, especially over this stretch, has been playing at an all-star caliber level. I think that is reasonable to say. Art of War. Reaves needs to work on his defense. He gets smoked each time. I think Austin Reaves is one of the 5 most average defenders in the league. I think he's one of the 5 most average defenders in the league. I think in a perfect scenario, Austin Reaves is the most C-level defender in the league. And I mean that in all the like good and bad ways. He is a perfectly average defender. I think also too, putting Max next to him was huge. I think long term, again, adding that like other guard that could take some of the burden off him is also going to be huge. He also like cares. Austin plays hard, and it makes sense why JJ Redick loves him so much. It makes a ton of sense, man. He's playing at an incredible level. You look at his play type data here. Let me look at synergy right quick. Over blows bad defense. He's just mid. A lot of guys are worse. Yes, there are so many like other worse defenders in the league for people to like on this team. Screw the league. There are so many other players in the team that are bad defenders that we hyper focus on Austin. That we just hyper analyze Austin. Austin Reaves, any pick and roll that includes a pass out from him, right? 62nd percentile in the entire league in terms of efficiency. He uses it at the 87th percentile. He's been an elite off-ball player this season. On spotted possessions, he's scoring it in the 88th percentile for efficiency. He's not turning the ball over in those possessions. As a matter of fact, Austin's turnover problems really just come out of pick and roll, which I think pick and roll turnovers can like be fixed. And I think that's something with Austin's work ethic he can definitely fix. He's been really good in transition this season. I think a big thing for Austin's efficiency, he's been a really good pull-up shooter, 38% on pull-up threes this season, which is super important. And that's with him not shooting the three ball well on pick and rolls. Like last season for Austin, he shot 48% from three in the regular season and playoffs. Austin Reaves shot 48% on pick and roll threes. And this season, he's at 34%. So imagine if you get like more, like if it kind of rounds out to form, it gets like to the middle there, and it's 40% on pick and roll threes. Like, again, I don't know how confident I am in like my initial statement at this point about Austin being an all-star caliber player, but he is sure as hell playing like it right now. Might be a super dumb question, but what's the best site to find advanced stats like this? Some of the better advanced analytics sites, Dunks and Threes. Some of these are like subscription-based stuff, though. Dunks and Threes for EPM stuff. B-Ball Index, I mean, probably one of the best sites out there. Get Clean in the Glass. Play-by-play stats, so PBB stats. And honestly, a lot of this stuff is still provided on like NBA.com. He's got to like know how to play around with some of the stats. Let's see. Not that one. People are saying that we are now trying to scapegoat Rui. Not true. Laker fans are already upset with Rui's like a defense, athleticism, and awareness. So again, like this is why I don't even think I'm disagreeing with you guys. I'm just stating why I think they do. I think having Braun here, and this is why I think DFS just long-term, come playoff time, just makes the most sense. Rui and Braun in a playoff setting are pretty, I mean, is redundant the right word? Rui is super not important in those scenarios, in my opinion. Like, he's another guy you could throw out there for rebounding, sure, but he's not a good rebounder. And I mean, like, sure, DFS isn't necessarily a good rebounder either, but DFS is a really good defender. And I do want to add this for all the people like are dunking on that one clip of DFS getting cooked by Darius Garland, by the way. The one clip, for one, that's not even what DFS is here for. DFS is not a POA guy. He is not a guy you typically throw on guards at this stage of his career. I have to go back and rewatch the clip. I'm not even sure how he ended up on Darius Garland. And I think you guys know what clip I'm talking about. My guy, Creative Speak Basketball, threw that out there, right? He is a wing stopper. Rui Hachimura defensively, his role is a help defender. LeBron James' role come playoff time is going to be as a help defender. Why do we have two guys that do the same thing, both damn near equally as bad? One of them can't rebound in Rui, and then regardless, and this is why shooting at the end of the day, I saw a tweet. I think it was from a Rockets fan. I have some mutuals amongst Rockets Twitter, so I apologize which Rockets fan it was. But they made such a good point. And I feel like I've always thought this, but I've never like really said it. Shooting is so much more about like perception. Shooting is so much about perception, bro. So much about perception. Because Dylan Brooks this season, this was the example you used, right? Dylan Brooks this season is shooting 6 attempts per game, and Dylan Brooks is shooting 38% from three. And still you have games like tonight where the Dallas Mavericks, I mean, I'm like quoting him. So, if it wasn't true, then I apologize. I'm, quoting him. But teams still don't guard Dylan Brooks from three. As a matter of fact, to do you one better. If the Lakers play the Houston Rockets, actually, when the Lakers play the Houston Rockets in a week from now, right? we would all sit here and say, we're going to live with Dylan Brooks, right? We're going to. Teams do the same thing to Rui. Rui Hachimura this season. Where is he at? Rui Hachimura on catch and shoot threes is shooting 44% on catch and shoot threes. On open catch and shoot threes, he's shooting 54%. And still, in games, teams will go, you know what? We'll live with that. So God forbid he doesn't hit a shot. What does he do? What does he do? And it happens even when AD doesn't play. See, this is just the dumb shit that I'm talking about. And excuse my language, guys. And I don't care if it's a troll. I don't care. Laker fans that blame this on Braun or blame this on AD, you're just stupid. Okay? Like, I don't think you like understand basketball if you're saying that the Lakers' problem is LeBron. Yeah. So go read a book. Okay, clearly basketball isn't your thing. Sean, do I think DFS plays starts tomorrow? Do I think he starts tomorrow? No. I still think we are very early in this process. And I expect it to be a while before we see DFS potentially start. Again, if you're asking what I would do in the future, then I probably say you bring Rui off the bench. Your bench can really, really use some bench scoring. And again, you eliminate some of the redundancy. You eliminate some of the redundancy by playing him and Braun together. And I'm obviously choosing Braun. Is Aaron the best contract in the NBA? He's on like a top 5 contract in the NBA. He's on a top 5 contract in the NBA. I won't outright say number 1, even though right now he's playing like it. Yeah, he's on a top 5 contract in the league. Who won it? Who won it? Westbrook here, LeBron. That's another one of the stupidest things I've ever heard. Because then if that's what we're doing, okay, then guess what? We can start like listing off all the things that Braun has wanted. Like, we can start listing off all the things LeBron did want to happen that didn't happen, including the biggest one, which is him wanting them to go get Ty Lue to the point where LeBron called Ty Lue and said, look, I will press them to get you here. And Ty Lue told him, don't do that. They don't value me. So that's what we're doing. Okay. He wanted Kyrie. He wanted Clay. He wanted Ty Lue. He wanted DeRozan before the Westbrook thing even happened. That whole team wanted to run it back. Don't run from Westbrook. I'm not running for Westbrook. Sure, he wanted Caruso. I'm not running for the Westbrook thing. Yes, he wanted Westbrook. Yes, he did. But just like every other time the front office told him no, the front office could have very easily looked LeBron James in the face and said no to Russell Westbrook. They wanted Dudley back. Like, we could keep this going, guys. We could keep this going. Like we're like we're just being like stupid. Again, go pick up a book. Basketball is clearly not the sport we should be talking about. There was definitely mutual interest in Zach LaVine. I feel like it was a little bit more from like LaVine/Clutch, which if you want to attach that to LeBron, sure. But yeah. Like all the times that the front office looked Braun dead ass in the face. Like, they dead ass looked Braun in the face and said, nah, here's this. Nah, the guy you want now, we're going to lowball him to the point where he feels disrespected to go to our rival across the street. And then we're going to lowball this coach. And then we're going to fire him after we give him a bad roster in 3 years. Yeah. The Miles Turner trade is the one we missed big time. Yeah. I do often think about what we would have looked like if we don't start that season with Russ and you just trade Russ before that season even starts, so you do the Miles Turner trade. I do often think about what that team would have looked like. Now, obviously, there's no D'Lo, there's no Vando, there's no Malik Beasley for that season or post trade deadline. I also think about this actually really quickly. What does that mean? What does that mean for Austin? Does Austin just get thrown right into the mix, like thrown right into the fire? So essentially, like what we saw like post January from Austin that season. Is it just that the entire year, or is it kind of the same thing? Because if you recall, after Austin's rookie role, like, yeah, Austin's a dude. He's a dude, right? But if you guys recall, Austin at the beginning of the year was like a 17-minute per game guy. And then, like, at some point throughout the season, AR started to get a lot more minutes because they realized, all right, Austin's one of the few guys on this team that actually gives a damn. So, I don't know. That would have been really interesting. That would have been really, really interesting. JB, are those like your guys on the best contracts? Jalen Johnson's on a steal of a contract. Jalen Johnson's contract is sick. Oh wait, never mind. He already got extended. That's still not like a terrible contract. Considering like how he's playing, that is still not a bad contract. That's still not a bad contract. I would say he hasn't played that well this year, but Nemhard's contract is pretty dope. I think AR's is better, but would I trade AR for DeJounte if I had to do it over again? No. I know at the time last year that wasn't a popular opinion, but I if you want to talk about, there is no guy that is living more off of his reputation than DeJounte Murray. There is no guy that lives off his reputation more than DeJounte Murray. Goodness gracious, man. Good Lord. The whole, that's somebody I mentioned the other day, say he's like one of the better point of attack defenders in the league. And objectively, he has not been a good POA guy for at least 6 years. He has not been a good POA guy in like 6 years. Legit. Corey Kispert. Corey Kispert's on. Oh my God, this Corey Kispert deal is amazing. Corey Kispert's on a hell of a deal. Norman Powell. This guy just turned us looking at like really good contracts. Norman Powell. Oh my God. Like legit all-star numbers for $19 million. Zubac is actually on the steal. That's the steal of a contract for what Zubac is doing. Even the extension. That extension for Zubac looks really nice too. Should the Lakers trade for Matisse Thybulle? Nah, that's not really the guy I would target. Let's get one more like spike. We're going to wrap this up here in the next 5 minutes or so. We're going to wrap this up in the next 5 minutes or so. Bruce Brown. My thoughts on Bruce Brown, I'm assuming you're asking. I could see him being a guy JJ Redick would be attracted to. Not romantically, obviously. Didn't know if I had to clarify that or not. I could see JJ Redick liking Bruce Brown. with me being so confident that they don't trade Rui, it's kind of tough how you get to a Bruce Brown deal. It gets tough getting to a Bruce Brown deal. It gets tough getting to a Bruce Brown deal. Dominic Klingon an option? Nah. Vando, Gabe, JHS. I don't think Vando has any value. That's the only thing. And that Vando contract for an opposing team, Vando's contract for an opposing team is not that attractive. It's not that attractive. Let's see. Hey, Sean, I missed you on the LN podcast. What are your realistic ideal trade deadline for the Lakers, 9 or 10-man rotation? So I'll do a full ideal trade deadline scenario. I'll do a couple of them before the deadline. I do think, like, when this team's fully healthy, and if we're doing like my rotation, like what I would do, I would go AR Max, Braun, DFS, AD, and then off the bench, it's Gabe, Dalton, Vando, Rui, and then like whichever one of the bigs you feel confident about at the time. That's like not a bad team. That's not a bad team at all. It's not a bad team. And so this brings up, by the way, you guys should, I highly recommend you guys go check out the Hoop Venue podcast with me and my guy Tyler, Hoop Venue. I'm sure you guys have all seen his content in the past. And he asked me a question about this Lakers team. And like kind of how, no, it wasn't him. Crap, wrong Tyler. My bad, Tyler. Do still check out the Hoop Venue pod. I was on the No Ceilings pod with my guy Tyler Metcalf from No Ceilings, and he kind of asked me a question about how I feel about this team right now. Essentially, like that's in so many words, that was a question. Paraphrasing here a little bit, and essentially what I said was, I in terms of the overall, like the big picture, I honestly don't feel that much different than I did in the summer, which was. I said all summer in my preseason work, in my preview videos, whatever pod outlet I had a chance to say it on. My take this summer was essentially the Lakers have like a 1.6% chance of winning a title, and it's because they have LeBron James and Anthony Davis, right? And all right, technically, I'd say right now it's about like a 2.1% chance. I think getting DFS, Austin playing so well, especially recently, you have those two things working for you. And as good as OKC is, and keep in mind, OKC's been my title pick the entire year. With all that being said, the West is still kind of feels open to anybody, right? Not just LA, but it still kind of feels open. Like, I'm looking at the standings right now. OKC's the best team in the West, no doubt about it. But Memphis is scary as hell when they get healthy. Denver has a switch that I just don't think has been like clicked in yet. Their biggest problem is they can't guard anybody yet. But let's say Denver gets to like the 17th best defense or the 18th best defense. I have no clue where they're at right now. Off the top of my head, here, we'll look it up. But let's say Denver gets to a very average league defense, right? Denver gets to a very average league defense. Denver's defense right now is 19th. That's actually that's a whole hell of a lot better than I thought it was. Denver gets to like the 15-16 range to where Sacramento is. Sacramento is the 16th best defense in the league. Let's say they get there. Okay, like that team is the team that could win a title and that could come out of the West. Dallas has at any time, Dallas can have the best player on the planet and Luka. They can have. I don't think he is. I think it's still Jokic/Giannis. But at any given moment, Dallas can have the best player on the planet. And then that team is also just really, really good. And you can even argue they've only gotten better since the finals run that season. They've just had some bad injury luck this year. The Clippers are about to get a top 10 player back last season. About to get a top 10 player back. I don't think people understand how freaking good Kawhi Leonard was last season. You got the Timberwolves, who, like, by a miracle, kind of figure out their fit issues. They're a team with the experience now. They're a team that can play on any given night, top 5 defense in the league. And they have a guy that's trending upwards in Anthony Edwards, and you have the Lakers, right? So I just listed off 7 teams. The West is very much open, right? Sean, go live for the Cavs Thunder game. When do they play? Definitely would have watched that. And how the hell is that not on national TV? The two best teams in a literal decade, damn near, are playing, and that's not an. Okay, I lied. It's on ESPN. I was about to go up on the NBA. My bad. I'm glad that's on ESPN. I was definitely about to be pissed. But I say all that to say, to kind of bring it back. The West feels wide open. Austin's playing at a ridiculous level. You made the DFS trade. I think there's a 2% chance this team could win a title. So I think it's, like, technically better than I felt in the summer. But I always kind of felt like, look, this team has some holes. They got to figure some stuff out. But they have Bron AD, give them a shot. And for that reason, I kind of, like, don't really know where I stand. Like, this team could be a first round exit, or this team could be a conference finals team. I still really believe that. They are very comfortably, for me, still a tier below OKC, Boston, Cleveland. And it really just comes down to, I think the Lakers in a scenario like that, I think the Lakers just have too many guys that you don't really have to worry about. And I mean that in a nice way. Like, I love Max Christie. You guys know I'm a big Max guy, right? I like some of these other guys. Even though I want some of them traded. I like Rui, right? I like Vando. I like Gabe. I did a whole film breakdown on Lakers Nation about how much I like Gabe Vincent. But in some of those games, they have too many dudes that you don't have to worry about. And then you have too many dudes that are just like liabilities on the other end. So that's how you get into a scenario with the Cavs where you're in it. Like, I thought they played well. They played hard. But at the end of the day, like, Cleveland's 4 best players, Donovan Mitchell 26, Darius Garland's playing at an all-star level, Jared Allen double-double, Mobley 20, Bron AD and Austin brought it. Nobody else showed up. Nobody else showed up to play. Austin, Bron, and AD combined, what's that, 6 for 14 from 3? The rest of the team hit 3 of 21 from 3. That's the game where you need Rui Hachimura to show up. That's the game where you need Rui to go, look, I'm the 4th guy. I'm the guy that in these games can kind of push over the top. Or if not, yes, just lean into defense then at that point. You know what I'm saying? So it's tough. So apologies for the rant there a little bit, but I don't really know what this team like can do. I hope they make another trade, and we'll go from there. Anything else before we wrap up here, guys? Like I said, we're gonna be doing these like once a week. We're gonna be doing these like longer videos, these long live streams once a week. I will say this as well. Go check out the Sports Headline Show and the Hoop Venue Pod, like I said, for if you guys like just my regular if you like my regular NBA content as well, want to talk more hoops, go check out those two channels. Hoop Venue Podcast, Sports Headline Show. Cavs coach is good, he knows ball. Yeah. I'm still like beating myself up about being as low on the Cavs as I was. Very pissed off at myself about that one. Chad, no, I am not. I am not. I have no intentions on going back. If we want to nip that in the bud now, I have no intentions on going back. Sean wanted I wanted Atkinson. I remember going like, okay. I mean, I'll take the credit, but my memory is more so me being like, okay. If you do it, that's fine. Maybe I'm tripping. Anything else before we wrap up here? Thoughts on Kobe White or Ayo Dosunmu? I don't think I don't think Kobe White's available. Ayo, you can maybe get. I don't. I'm curious what the mark will be on Ayo. I think the yeah. Somebody asked how would I grade the Lakers? I think that's what how that whole rant started. Was somebody asked like what grade would I give the Lakers? Okay, so now I know I wasn't just aimlessly ranting. Yeah. For a second, I kind of lost track of what I was ranting about. How do I rate JJ as the coach so far? He's like a C plus, C probably. I think this team C minus even, yeah. But to be completely honest with you, I wasn't like I wasn't the guy that had these insane expectations on JJ Redick heading into year one. Now, I will say, add like whatever your definition of a B level coach, not an A or S tier coach, but like a B to a B plus coach. Add that guy to this team, and this team's like the 3 seed right now. Like, hold on, let me see. They're 18 and 14. To get to the 3 seed, you need 4 more wins. Yeah, that's about right. Add like a B to a B plus coach to this team. It's like a 4 seed, 3-4 seed right now. So yeah, whoever your definition of a B coach is. Let's see. I'm surprised that Atkinson turned out so good for the Cavs again. Yeah, that was one of the reasons why I came out a little bit lower on the Cavs, because I thought that was a pretty mid hiring, and it turned out to be a great one. How have things been since leaving? Seen success and going well, I hope. Yeah, I mean the channel. Channel's doing great so far. And this is my appreciation to you guys. And the first video I made would have been, let's see. First video I would have made. Oh, dang. Hold on. I went a little too far back. First video I made was August 5th, 2024. So in 4 months, we're already about to hit 10,000 subscribers already, right? And that's like a credit to you guys. I mean, and it's obviously much appreciated. You guys have dealt with so many inconsistencies on my end, and I owe it to you guys here in 2025 to be better on all platforms. But yeah. So yeah, I mean, everything's going well. I posted on Twitter. This has been the crazy. I wouldn't describe it as tough. Let me backpedal. I would describe it as like hard, as hard, or I don't even know what the right word is, but I purposely use the word crazy because there are people that have had like harder years than me, so I don't want to use the word hard. But like 2024 was easily like the craziest year, personally and professionally. And to see you guys tune out, there's still over 300 people in here live, and that number, like, by the end of the season, guys, we're going to be having 1,000 people in here for every live stream. We're going to be having 1,000 people in here because that's how confident I am in you guys. That's how confident I am in myself, and I know I'm going to be better with being consistent. So yeah, 9,000 plus subscribers in 4 months. You guys are freaking awesome. So much appreciated, and we're gonna ride this thing until the trains roll off. So oh my god, it's late. You guys know what I meant. The trade live was great. Yeah, the trade live was fantastic. The trade live, actually, if we're like being transparent here, the trade live is actually the best performing video since I explained why I left. That was the best video performance wise since I explained why I left. Yeah. So you guys are awesome. Choco Thunder, much appreciate the support. Much appreciate. BC, does he? Does he? That's funny. That's funny. That's funny. Much appreciate the support in the chat. Let's see. Is there anything else? Johnny. Oh, my guy. Love, bro. Appreciate you, bro. Appreciate it, Rome. Do I see Mike Brown taking an assistant coaching job? Please hire Mike Brown and have him be your offensive coordinator. Oh my god, this team is like 3 times better. This team is like 3 times better. You add Mike Brown to this team. Maybe I'm like exaggerating a little bit, but you give Mike Brown like the offensive coordinator responsibilities. Man, we're cooking. Mike Brown is getting paid vacation. Yeah, I get it. If I'm Mike Brown, I wouldn't be in a big rush either. Wouldn't be in a big rush either. If I were Rob, I make the trades for the roster to give us the best chance at a chip. Realistic, of course. Yeah, Cam Johnson. Well, no, Cam Johnson went to first, so I understand that one. I'm trading Rui. Honestly. So again, guys, you guys know the deal. If the Lakers if the Lakers trade Rui Hachimura, if they do, I'm so confident they won't trade Rui. But if they do happen to trade Rui, I will buy somebody, a random subscriber here on the channel. I will buy a random subscriber a Rui not a Rui jersey specifically. I'll buy them a Lakers jersey. That's how confident I am that they don't trade Rui. That's how confident I am that they don't trade Rui. I don't think that I'm not saying that I think the Lakers are done, but that's how confident I am that they don't trade Rui. All right. That is going to do it. Already almost at an hour and a half. Thank you guys so much for hopping in. One last like spike before we get out of here. Rui gave 29 first, 25 second for Cam Johnson. I think if that was possible, they would have pulled the trigger on that. What tanking team do I want to see Cooper Flag go to? Who do I want to see Cooper Flag go to? That's a good question. I tell you one team I don't really want to see him go to. I don't want to see him go to Utah. Low key, I want to see him go to Washington. Jordan Poole's balling right now, bro. I want to reward Jordan Poole for a little bit. I want to reward Jordan Poole by getting him a guy that that he could play with and do some fun stuff with. And then also Sar, Cooper Flag, Bilal Coulibaly. Sheesh. As your young core, hey, I want to see him on the Pels, LOL. No, he can stay as far away from the Pelicans as possible, please. All serious though, if I'm the Pelicans, I'm getting like Dylan Harper. I'm getting Dylan Harper or Jeremiah Pierce. That's what I'm doing if I'm the Pelicans. He will end up with the Spurs. So help me God, if the Spurs or the Thunder land Cooper Flag, I'm going to just rage and like it's a wrap. It's over with, bro. It's over. Are the Pelicans going to trade Zion? This isn't a popular take, but I don't think they should. I don't think they should. It reminds me of the conversations we were having with AD back in 2022. Not the same scale, but it reminds me a little bit of the conversation. Like the Westbrook year, AD was really, really banged up. He had the playoff run where he was hurt. Then he has that 2022 season where he was hurt. And everybody was talking about, the Lakers should trade AD. They should blow it up, yada, yada, yada. And you would be, at the time, I remember saying, bro, you would be selling so low on Anthony Davis. And thank God they didn't trade him, obviously, right? I think it's at least a comparable situation where you trading Zion right now, and then Zion gets healthy at the next spot. We've seen healthy Zion. Healthy Zion is a top 15 player on the planet, top 20 player for sure on the planet. And you trading that, I think, is not the right. You trading that, and Trey Murphy's by himself now. Trey Murphy's also balling. Like, respectfully, a young core of Trey Murphy, Herb Jones, Zion is way more appealing. And then I get to add a top 5 pick. That sounds way better instead of, all right, we have Trey, we have Herb. Now we have to find our superstar guy, where you already have your superstar. Just get him healthy. So again, maybe a hot take, but I don't trade Zion if I'm New Orleans. They have a lot of veterans on that roster. I kind of clear house a little bit. Like, it sucks that they traded for DeJounte. I mean, I'm not gonna say it sucks, but they have DeJounte, they have CJ. You know, who do I think San Antonio get to pair with Wemby? I'm getting I think Chris Paul is showing you the vision of getting a dominant playmaker next to Wemby is the way to go. So a dominant playmaker that can actually score. Like Chris Paul at 40 is not a scorer anymore. Like Chris Paul is simply like a Wemby merchant at this point. So if the Spurs are really like the Jeremiah Fear spot, that's a perfect situation for him. I was a big fan of them going to get a guy like Garland in the offseason. I think now the way Garland's playing, obviously, he's increased his stock a ton. So I don't think that's the case, but I think what we've seen from Chris Paul and Wemby this year shows that that's kind of the blueprint. Elite passing guard that can actually score next to Wemby, and you just build the rest of the team out. That's the build. So Jeremiah Fears. I don't even know what other guard in the league that could be traded. I don't know why the first name, I definitely wouldn't do this, but the first name that came to my mind for some reason was Jordan Poole. Please don't do that. But that was the name that popped into my head. I don't love it. Fears is nasty. I've seen him live. I can't wait to start my draft content for sure. I'm really excited to watch Jeremiah Fears. What if the Spurs trade for Tyrese Halliburton, Sean? That would be nasty. Nasty in a good way for San Antonio, nasty in a bad way for Indiana. But that's kind of the mold. Hallie is just good enough of a scorer to where that makes a lot of sense. Just good enough. All right, guys. That's going to do it. Thank you all so much for tuning in here. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe here to the channel. Pacers would do that? Yeah, absolutely not. Make sure you guys hit the like button and subscribe. We'll be doing these once a week here on the channel. Go check out the Sports Headline Show. Gonna be dropping some new content, a power rankings update this week. And with that being said, thank you so much for tuning in. As always, go Lake Show. Peace out.